Welcome to the celebration of snowboard gear polyamory that is the Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and it's time to get those posi angles going, set it back towards the tail, and talk about the Good Ride Snowsurf favorites for 2026. If you don't know about me, I've ridden close to 1,000 snowboards, and while I love all kinds of snowboard designs, I'm a lifelong surfer. Surfing was my first passion before snowboarding. And even though I live in the mountains now, I still surf the river wave here at Bend, and surfing will always be a large part of my life. So I enjoy these snow surf boards, even though it's not my only thing. I also put out honest, objective reviews after extensive testing and comparing. Nobody else does that, and of course, this is no pay-to-play list. These boards earned this spot only by how they ride, and that's it. I can do this thanks to your support and thanks to our sponsor, Blower Board Shop. They've been selling to snowboarders longer than most resorts allowed snowboarders. They now have a large online presence, so if you want to support a great shop and honest, objective reviews from an average rider's perspective, click through our links to Blower Board Shop and buy something. It would be greatly appreciated. So how do I define snow surf here at the Good Ride? As a lifelong ocean surfer, I see it as a board that rides really set back near the tail, like you do most short boards in the ocean. These often float like a dedicated POW board, but have an incredibly fun turn on groomers. They generally shine with a posi stance, and they do a great job emulating the kind of turns you would often do on a wave. And just like surfboards, there are all kinds of snow surf rides out there. But many brands are hard to get a hold of. They're often small, in another country, or both. So it's okay if yours didn't make the list, and it could still be an amazing board. If you want to know why yours didn't make the list, go to thegoodride.com, see if it's there, and find out why by reading my review or watching the video. If I didn't review it, hit me in the comments here and I'll try my best to get on it. So let's get to it. The first up is the Stranda Tree Surfer. This can work for committed intermediates on up to experts. It's damp, it has a fast base, super easy float, and very quick turn initiation for its width and its flex. It also has less of a swallowtail feel than most swallowtails out there. It's a great board to ease into riding posi, as it's okay with a slightly duck stance. This is one of my personal favorites, and my only issue after riding both the 57 and the 62 is I can't decide which one I like better. Next up is the Burton Smooth Operator that's good for advanced to expert riders. Burton's take on snow surf means that this board doesn't have that tapered feel on groomers because it's the same width over each insert, but in POW, that taper comes alive and this still rides really set back. This has such a lively but not over chattery flex that really does have a smooth turn to it. And while it's hard to get Sade out of your head when you're turning, this is one really fun ride on groomers, and it looks like it would be an amazing board and powder. I didn't get to test it though. But after riding the 160 and 164, I'd love to have a 64 in my quiver, and this is the kind of board you want to size up on. All right, next up is the Soul Shift that's good for committed intermediates on up to experts. This shift is not that well known, but truly is special. Davey, our big guy reviewer, and I both love this board, and it's one of our personal favorites. It has more camber, pop, and drive than almost every other board on this list, but even more special is it has minimal chatter. The spoon nose and tail bleed into the effective edge a little, which I usually don't like. However, this lifted tech works almost intuitively with no learning curve, making this more forgiving and better to turn without feeling washy, and it's such a fun ride in all conditions. For 2026, they improved the pop without adding any more camber, and it's made it even better than past years. The only issue is sizing is limited, so if you can't find a shift in your size, you can always go with the Korua Dart, which is an honorary mention. However, after lots of same-day comparisons, both Davey and I found the Soul Shift to be the better daily driver. Now up next is the Salomon Wolle Nyvelt fish, which is good for advanced to expert riders. Ever since they added recycled ABS to the outside of the sidewalls, it transformed this into a still very poppy but much more manageable ride in all conditions. It's got a fast base, super easy float, and a really springy, fun turning experience. I also appreciate this somewhat medium-ish flex that really makes this fun to turn at just about any speed. Next up is the Weston Japow, which is good for advanced to expert riders. The Japow is an amazing low-angle pow board, but it's also a really special board to turn on groomers, and not a lot of people talk about that. It has a really powerful down-the-line turn that really picks up speed well. In powder, it becomes much easier to maneuver, but you can still light it up in wide open terrain. It has a fast base, a very durable top sheet, best on this list, and it's a great choice for those that want a step-up kind of feel on snow, but with a swallowtail type of shape. After riding and loving a 59 and 64, I'm now really 69 curious for those ultra deep low angle days. I often see at Mount Bachelor. Next up is the Nidecker Beta APX, which is best for advanced to expert riders. The Beta APX has a lot of camber and a lot of pop, but still manages chatter very well for a high-end version of the regular model. It has a very satisfying, lively, front-footed, down-the-line turn on groomers. Then in powder, the spoon nose and taper come into play and make this a much more turny, slashy ride. It's a little less setback on board than most of the snow surfers on this list, but it's better for getting air because of that. If you want something cheaper, you can go with the low-cost favorite, the regular Nidecker Beta. It's got a little less pop and a slower base, but it's more damp in all conditions and comes at a really good price. Everything else about the board, design-wise, is the same. Now next up is the Gentemstick Barracuda. This is great for intermediates with a shit ton of cash on up to experts. And the Barracuda is a very light, poppy ride that isn't the best in uneven snow, but when you get this in good conditions, it just comes alive and truly shines. This base is special and just has effortless glide in good conditions. Of course, it's such a fun board to turn and pow, but it's also a really fun groomer board too. Same with the Barracuda HP, which I'm lumping into this favorite award as well. And it's really good if you want something stiffer and narrower. It's been a while since I rode these, but I still think of them both fondly. Next up is the Jones Storm Chaser, which is doable for committed intermediates on up to experts. This shorter, wider snow surf shape is the only board on this list with a disrupted side cut that actually grips like a champ on hard snow. So if you like short, wide, swallowtail, twin fins in the ocean, you might really like the Storm Chaser on snow. It of course floats and turns super well in powder with all that rocker and spoon nose, but now that it has that setback camber, its groomer performance is incredibly underrated. I actually like this just as much on groomers now as I do in POW. It truly shines in all conditions, and it's great for those that like a more back foot weighted turn. Now last up but far from least is the Korua pencil. What I love about the pencil is how it reminds me of boards I loved for surfing in perfect right point breaks that would accelerate down the line with a lot of front foot weight to help me beat a section. This loves a down the line turn, but also isn't bad at all for medium radius turns or even a circle carve. It also floats super well, and I actually prefer this more than the Dart in low to medium angle powder, just because it floats almost the same, but keeps its speed better. Now for 2026, you have three options. You have the Classic, which is the most damp and what I'm referencing here. And then for a little more money, you can go with the brushed option, which is a little lighter and has an easier flex. Then for a lot more cash, you can go Plus, which is stiffer, has a faster base and more pop, but it's the least damp of the three. I've ridden the 59 and 64. I absolutely love the 64 and felt the 59 was too small. You definitely want to size up on this and ride it longer than you normally would. My only complaint is I wish they had a bigger size for bigger riders like they do with the Dart and the Cafe Racer and the Pentonic for that matter. So there you have it. That's the Good Ride Snowsurf favorites list. If you have any questions or want to share your take, it's absolutely necessary to give us context. I need your boot size, your weight, and your height. The make, model, year, size board or boards you ride now, where you ride, what your ability level is, and give me a little bit about your riding style. Otherwise, it's incredibly hard for me to help you, or no one will understand your take if you want to leave a comment. And also, I'm not a large company with deep pockets, so it's greatly appreciated if you support The Good Ride by liking and subscribing, buying through our links on thegoodride.com or on YouTube, especially through Blower Board Shop. Make sure we're the last click and don't use any discount browser extensions, discount providers of any kind. They take my commission even if they don't give you a deal. Join our Patreon for early access to reviews, exclusive content like comparisons, and better advice than you would get on YouTube. And speaking of advice, my time is limited. So if you want the best advice possible, hit me in the paid advice form and you'll get a massively more in-depth, detailed response than you would anywhere else. And thanks to all of you for being here all these years. I feel incredibly lucky to have such a great community, and I'll see you again soon.